Hello, and welcome to the Real Estate Practice Podcast, the show that helps you know what to say when you're talking to buyers and sellers so that you can close more deals and earn more money. I'm Darren Tunstall, a real estate professional, coach, and #1 best-selling author. Let's get into this. Before we begin today's episode, I want to clarify some important points. I am a licensed real estate agent and my DRE number is 018534445. It's crucial to note that this podcast operates independently of my affiliation with Keller Williams Realty and any realtor associations. My primary goal with this podcast is to provide you, our listeners, with valuable information, insights, and practical tools. As a reminder, the purpose of Scripts and Dialogues is to come, learn, practice, and be prepared to fail forward. This is where we make mistakes and help each other out, but we're mostly interested in seeing how we can get better. First, we read through the script word for word, and then we go back and put it into our own natural tone, style, and phrasing. You won't know what to say until you go through the script. So, with that said, many people will say, "That's not how I sound," and I totally get it. That's not how you sound. But that is the reason why we practice every day, so that the script becomes you and in your own voice. So read it word for word first, then go back and put it into your own natural tone, style, and phrasing, and I think it'll work out. But let's go ahead and get started for today. Today is titled Home Sweet Home, A Buyer's Guide to Real Estate Credits. And in this scenario, you are helping a first-time home buyer understand real estate credits and how they can reduce the overall cost of purchasing a home. The intention is to educate a first-time home buyer on a real estate credits, helping them explore options for lowering upfront cost and connects with the lender for personalized financial guidance. Has anybody here had to or ever dealt with credits in a transaction, whether it's helping a client or maybe even yourself, when you're buying or selling a house?
Yeah, I have multiple times.
I
Yeah.
have too. And I requested credits on an offer I made, but the offer didn't get accepted. So
Okay. And I went, just for clarification here, I went back to Chuck, the lender that came on the other day. I just asked him, "Hey, I'm kind of curious, what are your max percentages that you're allowed to offer on credits?" He just wrote back, and I think it's good that we share this with everyone. He said it depends on the loan program. Some will go up to 6% or even 9% if you put 25% as down payment. If it's under a 10% down payment, then the max is 3% towards down payments. VA max is 4% and the FHA max is 6%. So maybe that might help out a little bit more knowledge that we have. Any questions about this conversation before we break out?
All right. Hi, Darren. You want to be the agent? You want me to be the agent?
Oh, you're going to be the agent.
Okay.
Okay, when you're ready.
Hi, Darren. I'm so glad you could make it today to check out this beautiful home. Are you starting to get a sense of what your dream home looks like and how much you'd want to spend?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's certainly seems a whole lot more real now that we're digging into this, but I'm not sure about all the cost involved and how the financing process works.
That's totally understandable. The whole process can seem a bit complicated, but that's what I'm here for, to make it easier. So one important aspect to consider is something called real estate credits. They can actually reduce your costs when buying a home. Have you ever heard of them?
No, I'm not familiar with that. How does that work?
So credits are essentially financial incentives that can help you save money during the home buying process. A good example is something called closing cost credits. When you buy a home, there are various fees you need to cover, like loan origination, the appraisal, and title insurance. But with the right negotiation, you can ask the seller to cover some of those costs for you.
Hmm. Um, that's really interesting. How does that work exactly?
Good question. So let's say you're making an offer on a $750,000 home. If we negotiate a 3% seller credit, That could cover $22,500 in closing costs. This means you'd bring that much less to the table at closing, helping you save upfront cash for other expenses.
That sounds really helpful, actually, but I'm kind of wondering, is there any downside to that, or?
Good question. There's some strategy involved. Asking for credits could affect the seller's willingness to negotiate on the price of the home, for example. Sometimes sellers might offer credits, but other times reducing the sale price could be a better option. It really depends on the situation and what's most important for you. If it's lower upfront costs or a better overall deal.
Okay, well, I understand. And I guess the only other thing that I really want to know is these credit options, are they are they lender credits or what is that?
So lender credits are different. So let's see. Um, Another option is lender credits. These come from your mortgage lender and help cover closing costs in exchange for a slightly higher interest rate on your loan. While it may increase what you pay over the long term, it could be a smart move if you want to reduce your initial expenses when buying the home.
I see. So basically, we're asking the seller to credit a little bit of money, and then we're going to ask the lender to give us a little bit. I think that might be very helpful. I'm curious, which option do you think might be best for us?
Hmm. Well, it sounds like you're thinking about the right things. I'd recommend we bring in our preferred lender to dive deeper into your specific financial situation. They'll help explain the best credit options tailored to your needs and ensure you're making the most informed decision possible. Does that sound like a good next step?
Yeah, I would absolutely love to connect with them and clarify some things because I mean I like the sound of it, but I think I need a little bit more information.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, that's great. I'll arrange a meeting with our lenders so they can walk you through the financial details, including how credits can benefit you. We'll schedule a time for you soon. You're really getting closer to making this dream home a reality.
Awesome. I can't wait.
Great, Darren. Great. Thank you for not throwing me too many curveballs there.
Not this time.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
No, it's a simple conversation. It's really
Yeah,
not a conversation for us. Again, it's a conversation that we should be aware of
right.
and prepared. But really, what we're saying is let's connect with the lender. We should talk about this. If we go that route, what would it look like between you, the client, and the lender?
Yeah, it really does seem like it's really educating the client and letting them know that there are ways to overcome that hurdle. So that's good.
Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah. All right,
Mhm.
I will give it a shot here for a minute.
Okay, good. I'll be the
So
buyer, right? I'll be the buyer.
you will be the buyer. Okay.
Okay, good, good, good.
All right. Hey, Susan, I'm so glad that you could make it today to check out this beautiful home. And I'm curious, are you starting to get a sense of what your dream home might look like and how much you're willing to spend?
Yeah, but I'm not sure about the total cost, and I'm not sure how I'm gonna pay for it.
Yeah. Well, that's like the $64,000 question, right? And it's
Yeah,
totally understandable. The whole process can definitely seem a little complicated, but that's what we're here for. We want to make it as easy as possible. One important aspect to considering is something that we call real estate credits or just credits in general. They can actually reduce the cost when buying a home. Have you ever heard of them?
I haven't, no.
Okay. Well, credits are essentially financial incentives that can help you save money during the home buying process.
Hmm.
A good example is closing cost. So when you buy a home, there's various fees to cover, like origination fees, appraisals, title insurance, things like that. But with the right negotiation, you can ask the seller to cover some of those costs for you.
Oh, that's great. That's great. How does that actually work? I mean, why would they do that?
Yeah, so let's think of an example. So for example, if you were to make an offer on a home at $750,000, if we negotiate a 3% seller credit, that could cover approximately $22,500 in closing cost. This means that you would bring that much less to the table at the closing. And, this can definitely help with saving cash up front and some other expenses as well.
That is so great, but it sounds a little too good to be true. What's the catch?
Well, I'm glad you said that because that is a fantastic question. And you always got to be wary of the too good to be trues, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the strategy. As you ask for credits, this could affect the seller's willingness to negotiate on the price of the home. So, for example, sometimes sellers might offer credits, but other times reducing the sale price could be a better option for them and for you as well. So it just really depends on the situation and what's most important for you. So lower upfront cost, or do you want a better deal overall?
Wow, interesting, interesting. Okay. Are there other credit options? I think I've heard of something like lender credits.
Yeah, you're just full of great questions today, aren't you? Well, so yes, another option is lender credits, and they come from your mortgage lender, and they will help cover closing costs in exchange for sometimes a slightly higher interest rate on your loan. I say sometimes because sometimes it's not. While it might increase your pay over the long term, it could potentially be a smart move if you want to reduce your initial expenses when buying the home.
Wow. Okay, okay. Um, what I don't know which one to do. Should I ask the seller for the credit? Should I ask the lender for the credit? Should I do both? I don't know, dear. What do I do?
Well, that's definitely a good question. The only thing that I can do right now is just say, hey, look, you have options. And it sounds like you're thinking about the right things,
Mm-hmm.
which is great. So what I'd recommend that we do at this time is we bring in our preferred lender to take a deeper dive into your specific financial situation. Um,
Mm.
this way they can help you explain the best credit option tailored to your needs and ensure that you make the most informed decision possible. Does that sound like a good next step for you?
Yeah, yeah, that sounds really good. I would like to talk to the lender. Yeah, yeah.
Good, because when we're making a decision like this, for example, I mean, sometimes there are additional fees and sometimes there's not additional fees. And I'm not the person to be able to make that call for you. So what I will do is I will arrange a meeting with our lender. His name is Chuck, and he can help walk you through the financial details, including how credits can benefit you. So if it's okay with you, I'll schedule a time for us to meet with him fairly soon, and we'll just get closer to making this dream home a reality. How's that sound?
That would be great. Darren, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll get back to you with the day and time, and we'll go from there.
Good.
All right.
Wow, that was great. It is nice for me to hear you say it. Yeah, that helps me. I think that's how I learn is hearing?
Yeah. No, this is why we have pairs, twos or
Mm-hmm.
threes, live versions versus recorded versions. Um,
Hmm.
it's just practice, right? That's all we do. This is
Yeah.
we're putting in our reps every single
Hmm.
day, so that when the live real deal is in front of us, we are prepared to go.
Good, good, good. Thank you. Thank
So
you.
now let's have you go back, do it again, put it in your own words,
Hmm.
and have fun with it.
All right. I'm gonna stay close to the script, but all right, I'll try to put it a little in my
You
own
can
words.
stay close. Remember, you're just coming from a place of information,
Yeah.
contribution,
Yeah.
and it's really not your position
Right.
to
Be the
advise me
experts.
financially, but
Yeah.
you know, you want me to know that there are options.
Okay. All right. Hi, Darren. I'm so glad you could make it today to check out this beautiful home. Are you starting to get a sense about what your dream home looks like and how much you want to spend?
I'm glad you asked because we've looked at a couple of homes now, and I think we definitely want to move forward to buy. I just don't know what is going to be. I don't know the financial process of it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, I hear that. And it can seem complicated, and but that's what I'm, going to help you with, try to make it easier. One thing that helps sometimes is something called real estate credits. They can kind of reduce your costs when buying home. Have you heard of them?
Um, I've heard the term. I really don't know what it means though.
Yeah, yeah. So they're essentially financial incentives that can help you save money during the home buying process. Like there's closing cost credits. So when
Mhm.
you buy a home, there are fees you need to cover, loan origination, appraisal, stuff like that. But with the right negotiation, you can ask the seller to cover some of those costs for you.
Really? Well, that sounds interesting. I kind of like the idea of that. How does that exactly work?
Well, let me give you an example. If you were to, buy a home for 750,000 and we negotiated a 3% seller credit, that means the seller could cover about $22,500 in closing costs. So that means you get to bring less to the table and you get to have the money for upfront cash for other things.
Wow. That's a lot of money, actually. I mean,
It's kind of
I'm kind of curious. Are there any cons or any downsides? What's the catch?
Right? No, it's good. It's good to kick the tires on it, see what's really going on. There's a little strategy involved. If we ask for credits, it could affect the seller's willingness to negotiate on the price of the home. Sometimes sellers might offer credits, but other times they'd prefer to reduce the sale price. So it really depends on the situation. I'm just telling you some options that are out there.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Well, tell me this. What other types of credits are there? Like I've heard something about lender credits too. Does that sound familiar to you?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. There are lender credits, and these come from your mortgage lender, and they help cover closing costs in exchange for a slightly higher interest rate on your loan. It might increase what you pay over the long term, but for some people, it's a really smart move because it helps them reduce their initial expenses when buying the home.
Hmm. Okay. Well, that definitely sounds like a good option. I'm curious to learn a little bit more about that.
Good, good. No, it is a great option. I'm not the expert on that. The expert is the mortgage lender. So I think if you wanted to look more into that, it's great. I could set you up to talk to the preferred lender to dive deeper on your specific financial situation and some options. They can explain it. Does that sound like a good next step to talk to the lender?
It is, but I'm kind of curious. I have m my brother-in-law is a mortgage lender. Is this something that he can help me out with too, or I haven't talked to him about it yet, but I don't know.
Well, you know what? If that person's an experienced lender, absolutely. You can use the lender you want to use.
Hmm.
And I've got some suggestions if you want a second opinion, but absolutely use the person you're comfortable with. So absolutely your brother-in-law might very well know about these. Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, I'll definitely ask him, but I mean, I don't mind calling your person either. And like you said, getting a second opinion would definitely be something I think I would be interested in. I mean, I want to support him, but at the same time, I got to go what's best for us because it's a lot of money, right?
What do you think about this? Maybe we can schedule like something with my lender, and then you can also talk to your brother-in-law and get a couple different perspectives. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, let's just do that then.
Good, good, good. All right, great, Darren. I'll let you know sometimes later this week you can meet with them.
Cool. Sounds good. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
So I'm kind of curious talking about credits. Again, I want to refer to what our preferred lender, well, what our lender said. I asked him earlier, is there a max? And he said that, sometimes they can go up to 6% or even 9% if you put down 25% down
Wow.
If it's under a 10% down payment, then the max is 3%. VA is 4%. FHA is 6%. And then, basically, I asked them another question: does the buyer's rate go up? And no, this is the money typically coming from the seller, but if the lender gives the lender credit, then yes, the money can come from, at a higher interest rate. So just kind of keep who's giving the credits in mind, what the percentages might be. But like what Susan and I were discussing was this is just a conversation that we're aware of. We're not the lender expert. Uh, but I'm kind of curious. I was watching something earlier this morning. There's a home in La Jolla for sale right now. It's called the Sand Castle. Anybody ever heard of it? The
Yeah,
Sand
I heard
Castle?
of it.
It's $108 million.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
What what do you think the credits are on that? I'm kind of curious to know, would a lender give credits on that? I mean, I don't think an FHA or maybe even a VA probably wouldn't qualify for that type of a loan, but would there be lender credits? I'm kind of curious to know what kind of a case study, because if you're given 6% on a $108 million home, holy Moses, what is that? $6 million? A $6 million credit? Is that right? That's a lot, right? You can go out and buy like eight, $6 million homes. Anyways, just kind of curious. Anybody have anything else that they want to share about credits or what you've done, maybe a little bit creatively, or just your experience in general?
I just want to say Yuri had a good point that this kind of sounds like it's steering you towards one lender where we should be offering more than one, and each lender is different and maybe offer different programs, and to speak to more than one to make sure they get a good choice of where they want to go. Or maybe one lender explains things a little better than the other one. We kind of just went into that conversation.
I'm glad you said that, and that's why I threw that in there at the very end, Susan. I'm kind of curious. I have a brother-in-law who's a mortgage lender. Can I talk to him about this?
Mhm.
Because you're absolutely right, Yuri and Emily, is we need to give options, right? And also tell them, like, here's our preferred lender. Here's a couple of other ones you're willing to call. And by the way, you're welcome to use anybody that you want. Whoever they choose to go with, just make sure that you get connected with them and so that you're having a conversation with them. And when the time comes, everybody's in the loop on that, because that at that point you want to be in the loop with whoever they choose, but we do not want to steer them in any way. They're welcome to choose whoever they want to use. 100% agreement. Does everybody else agree? Anybody disagree?
I
Yeah.
do.
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
It's always better to have options.
Going
Yeah.
with my brother-in-law.
Okay. Well, it is 9 o'clock. That's it for today. Tomorrow is the last of these types of conversations, and tomorrow's is called Guiding Homebuyers Through a High Interest Rate Real Estate Market, which interest rates went up again, right? So we're still in that market, but we're also in the low, within the last 52 years. So when you look at the overall scheme of things, I shared a graph yesterday of what the low was, and I actually can drop that in here one more time, just so in case if anybody wasn't here yesterday, you can see what that graphic would look like in terms of yesterday's interest rates. And here is that graphics, and I pulled that from I believe it was today's economics. But you can see that, yes, it is higher, right? But you can see that it goes back to 18, 19% back in the 80s. And then it just dropped since then. And yeah, it's a little higher, but over in the overall scheme of interest rates, we're pretty darn low still. Now, whether people's incomes are keeping up, I don't know. Everybody get that? Just to make sure?
Mm-hmm.
Thank
Cool.
you, Sharon. Thank you,
Cool.
everyone.
Thanks for
You're
sharing that.
welcome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You're welcome. See you all tomorrow. It's Friday, but don't slack on me.
Bye.
All right. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. All right. So that's the script. I hope that you found it useful. Just head over to realestatescriptspractice.com for more resources and downloads. This content is for educational purposes only and does not make any guarantees. We suggest you seek the help and/or advice of your broker, coach, mentor, office manager, attorney, and/or financial advisor. Brought to you by Darren Tunstall, a licensed real estate agent, DRE number 018534445. This content operates independently of Darren's affiliation with Keller Williams Realty and any realtor associations. The intention is to provide you with valuable information, insights, and practical tools. Please note that all results may vary and participants are responsible for their own actions.